So good morning students. Today we'll take the fourth unit in course book, first PU course book. Oru Manushan. The story, the name is a Malayali name. Malayalam it is called Oru Manushan. In Kannada it is Obba Vyakti. In English it is one man. So this is written by Vaikom Muhammad Bashir. He's a very famous Malayalam writer. He has written a lot of stories. Even the last course book, previous to this, we had a first lesson itself by Vaikom Muhammad Bashir, The Inheritors of the Earth. So he's a famous short story writer and also a novelist. He portrays the joys and sorrows of ordinary life. He writes about some ordinary incidents and they have been translated into English and various other languages. I'll give a short summary before going to the text. The story Oru Manushan, meaning one man, written by Vaikom Muhammad Bashir. See, you must be careful about the spelling of Muhammad. There are many spellings, M-O, M-U. Here it comes M-U, M-U-H-A-M-M-E-D. So this has been translated into English by V. Abdullah. Vaikom wrote in Malayalam and Abdullah translated into English. It deals with the common topic about man's experience in a faraway place. Once you go to a distant place where you do not know the people, you do not know the local language, what are the difficulties you face? The same thing is brought about in this story. Once the man had gone to a big city in the valley of a mountain. He had gone to a faraway place, a big city in the valley of a mountain. It was about 1,500 miles from his home. The people there were very cruel and they never knew the quality of mercy. Murder, robbery and pickpocketing were the daily occurrences of the people. The people were professional soldiers and some of them worked as watchmen in the banks, mills and large commercial establishments. They were ready to do anything for the sake of money, even to commit murder. The narrator stayed in a very small, dingy room on a dirty street. He was teaching English to migrant laborers. Migrant laborers means those who come from other countries and they were just laborers working. So they were not able to write English, particularly writes the address on the letter. So he taught them how to write in English, the addresses. And he got about 1 to 4 annas for each address. Then he used to sleep late in the till evening and get up at 4 p.m., 4 o'clock in the evening, just to avoid a morning tea and a lunch so that he could save money. So he would get up at 4 o'clock. Then after his routine work, he goes out, has some meals and a cup of coffee, tea, and then he goes for writing the addresses. He had 14 rupees in his wallet, in his purse, in his wallet. He had only 14 rupees. That was the total saving of his life. So he dressed himself and went out to a crowded restaurant. You see on the picture, it is a restaurant where there is a cashier and people are sitting. So it was a bit crowded. And he had a full meal and then he had tea. And the bill came to 11 annas. Previously it used to be annas. 16 annas means 1 rupee. That is why even now 8 anna antivi. So 16 annas means 1 rupee. So it came to 11 annas. So the owner asked him to pay the bill. He put his hand in his pocket. The narrator put the hand in his pocket, but he was shocked to see that the purse was not there. Somebody has pickpocketed him. So he was sweating. But the keeper of the restaurant was just laughing. Don't do all these tricks. Pay the money and then go. Then the narrator was ready to take out his coat and put it there. And he said he will go and bring some money. But the keeper of the hotel, the restaurant keeper, did not agree to that. Then he gave a loud guffaw. Guffaw means laughing, making fun. And all the people nearby, they were also making fun of him. Then finally, the restaurant keeper told him, remove your shirt. Then he removed. Remove your shoes. Then he removed. Then he asked him, remove the trousers. He was little upset. He just told jokingly that I don't have anything underneath. Then everybody was laughing at him. Then he was just going to remove. One by one he was removing the buttons. Suddenly some voice was heard. You see a man standing at the end here with a turban. So he started calling, stop, I'll pay the money. The stranger was a fair complexioned man, 6 foot tall, and had a red turban and white trousers. The man at this extreme right side is a man. So he said, I'll pay, stop. So he was a bit kind. He did not want the man to remove everything. Then he paid the bill of 11 annas. Then he asked the man to follow him. Then he took him to a deserted bridge. Deserted means where there was nobody. Then he looked around and saw that nobody was there. He took out 5 wallets from his pockets. He took out 5 wallets and then told him, which is your wallet? Take it. The man took his wallet, opened it and found the money intact. Then he thanked him. The man asked the stranger, what is your name? And he said, I don't have a name. Then in such case, your name is Mercy. Karune, your name is Mercy. Then the stranger went off and the man came back. This is a small incident or a story which happens sometimes when we go to a faraway place where you do not know the people and you do not know the local language and what are the problems you face. Now let us go to the text. Before going to the text, what is the pre-reading activity? What according to you is a good human being? Who is a good human being? Who is a good human being? One who helps the needy, extracting money from others, living a self-contented life and being violent. So the first one is okay, second is not correct, third is also okay, fourth is not correct. Anyway, here we study about the kind of people who live around us. You have no definite plans. You are wandering around far away from home. You don't have any plans. You just go. Wandering means just walking without any aim. Wandering. You have no money with you. You don't have any money also. You do not know the local language. Since it is a new place, you may not be knowing the language. You can speak English or Hindustani. Your Hindustani means Hindi. Only 2 languages you know, English and Hindi. But the local language you are not knowing. But very few people know either of these languages. Few people do know about these languages. This can land you in many predicaments, many difficulties. Predicament means difficulties. Many adventures can befall you. Anything may happen. You find yourself caught enough in a dangerous situation. Excuse me. Since there is no current here, you may not be able to see my photo there. You can see the text. Then you may find yourself caught in a dangerous situation. A total stranger rescues you. Some stranger whom you are not knowing, he comes and helps you. Even after years pass by, you will sometimes remember the man and wonder why he did so. After many years also, you will just think of the man who has helped you and think why he helped. Let us say, it is I. Now he comes to the incident. It is not somebody else, it is me, not you, who remembers the man. So now he wants to narrate the experience. I am now narrating an experience which I had. I have some vague notions about human beings, including myself. Vague means just few. Vague, it is just a little bit of notion. about ideas about human beings. There are around me good men and thieves. All kinds of people live. The good men, thieves, those who suffer from various infectious diseases and from madness. Different kinds of people live around us. Good people are there, bad people are there, thieves, and those who suffer from different diseases and mad people. One has to live carefully. So we must be very cautiously, we must live very carefully. The world has more evil than good. It is a quite a fact. What is good, evil is more than that. We realize this only after we get hurt. That means bad people are more than good people around us. Now let me record here that incident which was perhaps quite insignificant. A small incident he just wants to record. It was a big city in the valley of a mountain. So there were mountains there, and in the valley, in between Kanive, in the valley, it was a big city, some 1,500 miles from home. It was about 1,500 miles from his home. The inhabitants of which had never been known for the quality of mercy. They did not know what is mercy. They did not know what is kindness. They were a cruel people, very cruel people they were. Murder, robbery, pickpocketing, these were the daily occurrences. By tradition, the people were professional soldiers. Most of the people, they were soldiers. This is by profession. Some of them went to distant places and lent out money on interest. Some people had money, so they went to different places. They gave money on interest. Many others served as watchmen in the banks, mills, and large commercial establishments in big cities. Some others they were working as watchmen in some bank or mill or some factories. Money was highly valued by them. They respected money, they valued money and nothing else. For money, they would do anything, even commit murder. They will not bother. If they give money, they will do anything. I stayed in that city in a very small, dingy room on a dirty street. Then one more question comes. Where was the big city located? That is in the valley of a mountain. How far was it from home? 1,500 miles. And where did the man stay in the city? A small, dingy room. Dingy means congested. A lot of things are there, so it becomes dingy, suffocated. On a dirty street. Even the street was not clean, it was dirty. I carried on a profession there. What profession? Teaching English to migrant laborers. I told you migrant laborers means those who come from different countries to work. They are the migrant laborers. For example, people here from India, they go to Dubai, Saudi, some other countries and work there. They are migrant laborers. So, he works from 9:30 till 11 in the night. I taught them to write addresses in English. So what he was doing, he was teaching them English. He was telling them how to write address in English. Learning to write an address in English was considered great education there. So if a man knows to write the address, that was something great, a great education. Then you must have seen people who write addresses at the post office. Here nowadays, of course, you do not know this thing, letters and how to write addresses and all that. Even if I ask a student what are the different kinds of postal letters, they do not know. There is a postcard, there is an envelope, there is an inland letter, there is an air mail. So different things. Air mail is used for foreign countries. Inland letter is just folded and written. Cover means it puts inside. See, in our younger days, we used to send lot of letters and all that. Nowadays, everything has been replaced by modern skills like emails and all that. Anyway, then they were paid anything between 1 anna and 4 annas for writing an address. So what was the fee? Somebody used to give 1 or 2 annas, somebody may give 3 annas, the maximum was 4 annas. I taught the skill of writing addresses to people in order to escape the same fate myself and to see if I could save some money. So he was having a lot of work. That is why he taught the people to write the address so that he could do less. And in those days, I would sleep all the day. So from morning, he was sleeping and wake up at 4 in the evening. This was to save the expense of drinking my morning tea or eating the noon meal. This was to avoid expenditure. So if he sleeps, he will not be eating. So he used to get up at 4 o'clock in the evening only, so that he could save the money for a morning tea, breakfast and lunch. Then one day, I got up at 4 p.m. as usual. You got up at 4 p.m. See, you must write 4 p.m. We should never say 4 p.m. in the evening. Either you say 4 p.m. or 4 in the evening. For example, 9 a.m. or 9 in the morning. It comes in the grammatical question. I finished my daily course. Course means activities. See, when you get up, we have certain activities. We go to the toilet, we brush the teeth, and we take bath. These are all daily chores. And stepped out for my tea and a meal. Then he went out to have a meal. You must understand that I was dressed in a suit. So he was having a coat. I had a wallet in my coat pocket. He had a purse which he put in his coat pocket. I had 14 rupees in all in it. My life's savings at the time. So how much money he had in the wallet? 14 rupees. So small short questions. I entered a crowded restaurant. It was a busy restaurant. I ate a full meal consisting of chapatis and meat curry. So he had a good meal. Chapati, meat curry. I drank tea as well. He took a cup of tea also. The bill came to 11 annas. How much? 11 annas. It is almost more than 50%, half rupee. Then I put my hand in my coat pocket to pay it. Then he put his hand inside to take out his purse. I began sweating profusely and almost digested in an instant all that I had eaten. Then he was shocked. The purse was not there. The wallet was not there. So he was sweating profusely. And the reason was my wallet was not there. Whatever he had eaten, it was almost digested because of that tension and fear. Then I said, someone has picked my pocket and taken away my wallet. So he told the owner, restaurant owner, see, somebody has pickpocketed. I don't have money. It was a very busy restaurant. The owner gave a loud guffaw. Guffaw means loud laugh. Guffaw means loud laugh. You might have seen this word in your 10th standard, where you come across different stages where this word comes. The story is there. Startling everyone around. Startling means surprising everyone. He caught me by the lapels of my coat. Lapel means collar of the coat, and shaking me cried, shouted, this trick won't work out here. Put the money down and go, or else I'll gouge your eyes out. Even this word, gouge, this is in the same story. I forget the name of the lesson in 10th SSLC. These two words are there, guffaw and gouge. Gouge means pull out the eyes. Some 3-4 demons are there. I forget the name. Anyway, you will be remembering. Or I'll gouge your eyes out. He threatened him. The restaurant owner threatened, put the money and go, or I'll gouge your eyes out. Then the man looked at the people around him. If there are some good people who can help me. I did not see even one kind face. Everybody was bad people only. They had the look of the hungry wolves. Wolves. So they were all looking like hungry wolves. If he said he would gouge my eyes out, he would gouge them out. The second would is italicized. That means he will definitely do it. If he tells He would gouge my eyes means he would definitely gouge my eyes out. I said, let my coat be here. I'll go and bring some money. So the man said, I'll put my coat here. Let it be here till I come back. I'll go and bring some money. The restaurant keeper laughed again. He was a very bad man. Again he was laughing. He asked me to take off my coat. Okay then, remove the coat. I took off my coat. He asked me to take off my shirt. Again, I took off my shirt. He asked me to take off both my shoes. I took off both the shoes, removed. Finally, he asked me to take off my trousers. So the idea seemed to be strip him, gouge out his eyes and send me out naked. The man was shocked. He was asking me to remove the pant also. Actually, we don't use the word pant, we use only trousers. Pant has become later on. Originally, trousers used to be the name, and sometimes they used to call half trouser, full trouser. Half trouser is nothing but your Bermuda. Full trouser means pant. And in America, there was a company called Pantaloon Company, which was manufacturing trousers. And then the name changed into pants. Anyway, then the man said, I have nothing on underneath. I don't have anything. I don't have innerwear. How can I remove my pant? Everyone laughed. All who were nearby, they started laughing. The restaurant keeper said, I doubt it. You must have something on underneath. See, restaurant keeper is funnily telling, I have a doubt, but I want to see what you have inside. Something underneath. About 50 people repeated, there must be something on underneath. See, all bad people, about 50 people around, they were making fun of him. My hands refused to move. He was afraid to remove his pants. I saw in my imagination a man standing in the crowd, stark naked and without his eyes. Stark naked, fully naked and without his eyes. He just imagined that he was standing like that. Life was going to end like that. Then he thought, this is the end. Then he said, okay, let it end. And for all this, never mind. Oh, creator of the world, my God. Then he prays to God. See my condition. I had nothing to say. Everything would end. Everything would end to the satisfaction of all. What I can do? I'll remove. I began to undo one by one the buttons of my trousers. Then I heard a voice. Stop. I shall pay the money. Everyone turned in the direction of the voice. There stood a fair complexioned man, 6 foot tall, with a red turban and white trousers. He sported a handlebar mustache and had blue eyes. So the description of a stranger, a fair complexioned, 6 foot tall, red turban and white trousers. He had a handlebar mustache and blue eyes. So blue eyes were quite common at this place. He came forward and asked the restaurant keeper, how much did you say it was? 11 annas. He paid the amount. He turned to me and said, put on your clothes. I put them on. Come, he called me. I went with him. Did I have words to express my gratitude? I told him, you have done a great deed. I have not seen a finer man. The stranger just laughed. What's your name? He asked. I told him my name and where I came from. Then I asked the man his name. I asked him, the stranger, what is your name? He said, I have no name. I don't have a name. Then I said, in that case, Mercy must be your name. In that case, I'll call you Mercy. Mercy means kindness. You are so good, so kind, so I'll call you Mercy. He did not laugh at that. He walked on until we reached a deserted bridge, empty bridge, where nobody was there. He looked all around. There was no one. Look, you must go away without turning round. If anyone asks you whether you have seen me, you must say no. Just go, don't turn. If somebody is asking you, You don't tell anything about me. I understood. He took out from his various pockets about 5 wallets. 5 among them was mine. Which of these is yours? The stranger asked. I pointed to my wallet. Open it. I opened it. My money was there intact. How much money? 14 rupees was intact. I put it in my pocket. He told me, go, may God bless you. I repeated, may God help you. So this is a small story which is translated from Malayalam by V. Abdullah, and it is called A Man. Oru Manusha means a man, Oba Vyakti. So this is the story. Now you all understood. Now I'll just see the comprehension questions. Comprehension questions. Some may be in the text, some may not be there, but we'll just see the important questions, because examination point of view should be able to answer the questions. So the first one is, where was the big city in which the narrator lived? Very common question idu. Where was the big city? The big city was in the valley of a mountain. In the valley of a mountain. Second one, how far was the big city? How far was the big city from the narrator's hometown? It was 1,500 miles. 1,500 miles from his home. What had the inhabitants of the big city never known for? What had the inhabitants never known for? They had never been known for the quality of mercy. Next one is, what were the daily occurrences of the people of the big city? What were the daily occurrences? One is murder, robbery, and pickpocketing were the daily occurrences of the people. What were the people of the city by tradition? What were they by tradition? They were professional soldiers. Then, where did the narrator stay in the big city? This was an important question. Where he stayed in the big city? The narrator stayed in the big city in a very small, dingy room on a dirty street. Then, what was the narrator doing to earn a living? Question number 4 idu. Question number 3, see. For money, people would do anything, even commit murder. Fill in the blanks. Question number 4. What was the narrator doing to earn a living? So he was teaching English to migrant laborers. Why did the narrator sleep all day and wake up? Why? See question number 6. Why? All day, and then the reason was, he wanted to save the expense of drinking morning tea and a noon meal. How much money was paid to the people who wrote the address? How much money was paid? It was between 1 anna to 4 annas. 1 anna to 4 annas. How much was the bill at the restaurant? How much money was the bill? It was 11 annas. It was 11 annas. And question number 7, how much money did the narrator have in his pocket as his life saving? It's also a common question. He had 14 rupees. He had 14 rupees. The bill was 11 annas. Then, what kind of look did the people around the narrator have? They looked like hungry wolves. Hungry wolves. Then, how was the man who came forward to pay the bill? How did he look like? He was a fair complexioned man, 6 foot tall, with a red turban, white trouser, a handlebar mustache, and blue eyes. See, what was the name of the stranger? The stranger did not have a name. Then, what name did the narrator give to the stranger? The narrator called him Mercy. Where did the stranger take the narrator? He took the narrator to a deserted bridge where no one was there. How many wallets did he take out from his pocket? He took out 5 wallets. Now, second mainly, all the questions are important. Describe the people and the place where the incident took place. Exams generally these questions come. So I'll just give the answer. The narrator had gone to a faraway place where he had no money and did not know the local language. It was a big city in the valley of a mountain, some 1,500 miles from home. The inhabitants of the city were very cruel and had never been known for the quality of mercy. Murder, robbery, and pickpocketing were the daily occurrences. The people were professional soldiers by tradition, and some of them went to distant places and lent out money on interest, and some served as watchmen in banks, mills, and factories. They valued money more than anything else. They would do anything for the sake of money, even commit murder. It's a very important question. Describe the people and the place. Second is, what was the routine of the narrator in the city? Even this is an important question. It comes again and again. The narrator stayed in the city in a very small, dingy room on a dirty street. You begin like this. He carried on the profession of teaching English to migrant laborers from 9:30 till 11 in the night. He taught them to write address in English, and learning to write address in English was considered a great education there. Many people used to write addresses at the post office, and they were paid between 1 and 4 annas, 1 annas and 4 annas for writing an address. The narrator taught the skill of writing addresses to people in order to save his time, and he could also earn some money. He used to sleep all day and wake up at 4 in the evening. So he used to get up only at 4 because he wanted to save the expense of drinking his morning tea and eating a noon meal. Just please wait.